Hello, Illustrator here. Today I'm wanting to try and draw some examples from the book I'm using, specifically in the flower section of it. So we'll see if I'm able to do that today. So yesterday I drew this toilet paper using, this roll as an example. Didn't really turn out too well, especially the cylinder one. This one was okay. I just didn't know how to get the crease to look half decent. And then after that, I tried drawing some, just basic objects and then shading them. This is the best sphere I've done so far, by far. This one I just didn't really shade the sphere too well. However, the shading on the back is all right, I want to say. This cone, I couldn't really visualize the light properly or where it was coming from. So I kind of over shaded it a little bit. So I tried to have it come from kind of this angle going that way more. However, the way I did it didn't really work out that way. So I had to kind of have it more coming towards the front. So I tried to shade it that way. So that way it looks okay. This one was a cheese thing. I tried to do in the book, there's an example of a cheese block, so I tried to replicate that. Not very well, obviously. So we'll see if I'm able to attempt this flower from this book today. It's relatively simple, so hopefully I'll be able to do it. We will find out. The book has a bunch of examples of ways to draw different flowers and how to block them off so that they're simpler. So you can add in detail later. Like instead of just straight drawing the petals, instead of drawing the petals as you see them right then and there, you draw them as basic shapes and then you fill it in afterwards. This one's, I don't know what this one's supposed to resemble. I would assume a sunflower of sorts, potentially some form of poppy. So it says to kind of do the basic blocking like this, where you have a smaller circle surrounded by a bigger circle. I'm still really bad with circles. I need to get a protractor of some sort. And then from the inside, I have to angle these correctly. Just do little petals. And then some of them you can have come off of other petals. Other ones you want to go straight from bottom again. I'm not very good at this. I can't really draw this too well. These petals, it's not working out too good. Let me restart on this. Usually when it's going that bad, I like to just do a full reset so I can get it down a little bit better and be a little happier once I finish it. Let's start from the top. Yeah, this isn't working out too well. Hopefully it'll look a little bit better. I doubt it when I fully finish this. It's looking pretty horrible. But I guess that's why you practice. So it looks less horrible the next time you draw it, right? There we are. Now in the example, there's a lot more smaller leaves. However, I drew a lot less, slightly larger ones. I'm just gonna kind of bold the outlines and then do a small erase just to get rid of all the tiny imperfections. Now then, I'm gonna do little things coming from the center of these to kind of give it a semblance of little petals. Draw in that middle circle better. Now then, for the middle of this one, what they kind of show is that it's just little tiny kind of little shapes all in the middle there. Not like super random shapes, just little shapes like that, and they have little dots in the center. I drew this a little too small to get that well of detail in it. Maybe I'll do it larger for the next one. Now then, here they have little tiny additional petals, you know, to kind of layer it so it's a little more 3D. I'm not quite too sure how I want to go about that, because I usually end up adding too much and then it looks overcrowded and not very good. Like it is right now. It's sort of looking a little too overcrowded. I don't know quite how to quell that. Now again, I think I have too much lines going all the way down to the center. Because in a bunch of these, there's a lot of, I guess, negative space, you could call it, in here. Versus mine, it's all drawn in and kind of ugly looking, like this. Let me get rid of that outer ring. Well, there is the flower. Not very good. Let me try and use a different example from this book. It's a little bit more complicated. I know I shouldn't be doing that. However, I want to also draw this one slightly larger than the last one. It's already not looking so hot. Now then, we will see how this goes. Now, can't quite get it down, the leaves at least. Let me start this little bottom portion that's kind of going a little bit too horribly for my liking, as well as here. Just kind of do a little reset on that, because that was a little atrocious and unrecoverable. So now from here, I want to like that. That's a little bit better. Just a little bit. I believe I'm making this too long and too thin. It needs to be a little fatter. I'll go with that. That's good enough for now, hopefully. A little of that, and then I find that the leaves from the example are coming out from here, and then there, and then one's coming out from here and there, as well as another one is jutting out from here like that, and then coming in from there, and another one coming out from the back. All right. I'm just going to do a little strand for the stem. Now from here, I'm really, really bad at doing leaves. However, I guess I will attempt to do this properly. So from here we got kind of a, like that, kind of a, this one's kind of, and this one. Now the way that this is shaded, I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to do this any half decently here. It's quite bold on this side. Now they kind of have, in the example, they have the leaves kind of connecting here, so maybe I will attempt to kind of have that happen with mine here. I'm unsure exactly how that'll work out. Probably not very, but we'll find out. I think I'm shading this too darkly is my issue currently. And then for the ridge, I don't really, I think I need to make it random, something along those lines. And then from here, kind of fill it in. And with this little metal bit, I want to go kind of make it look like there's pollen on it. I'm not exactly sure how to go about that. Maybe if I try and smudge it a little bit. It doesn't look too good. Nothing from here. Yeah, not very good. Well, there's my attempt at a couple flowers. Not very well, but tried at least. I still find myself having trouble getting these leaves correctly. I don't really, when I try to shade them, they just end up looking like feathers, not leaves. Let me try to, let's see here. Let's see if there's a further back example in this book that can help me with these leaves. There's an entire, not section, but page on drawing a leaf, and I did not do very well at it. This one's a lot more specific of a leaf, though. And let me just try here. I'll draw this one nice and big so I can give myself a chance to actually shade it better with more detail. Now that in and of itself, could pass as a leaf. However, I need to figure out how to get that shading down right so that way it can look like a good leaf instead of a bad leaf. I cannot quite figure out how to do that. If I look at the examples on the flower page or on the flower section from this book, I can't quite figure out how to get it down. Here they have hatching on the leaf. So if I go just like this, I'll try both techniques that they recommend here. One on each side to see what looks better. This is so far not looking good at all. I think just because of how unevenly I did it is why it looks so bad. Now then from this side, you just basically do the same thing, but then you cross hatch it, or cross hash it. Now from there, to make it more leaf-like, I'm not sure exactly what I should do. So from here, at this point, I have, what kind of could resemble a leaf, right? I just don't know how to make it more leaf-like. Maybe if I were to add, little highlights potentially, or dark lights, I'm not sure. That doesn't quite look right. Well, I guess there's my attempt today at flowers. We'll see if I'm able to improve at all. No, I think I can show the flowers I was attempting to draw at least. This is what I was attempting to do, and then this is what I actually did. So let's hope I get better.